but nobody ever mentioned his possible problems with mortgage bonds, so he didn't worry about them. By 2006, O'Neill was so divorced from his own firm that he failed to appreciate the utter lunacy of Semercy's desire to clean house. Did he really think Merrill Lynch could get rid of the firm's most experienced mortgage traders and not arm the mortgage desk? Sadly, it seems that O'Neill didn't think about it at all. The arrival of Semercy should have put down Kim on high alert, if only because he had no way of knowing whether Semercy was up to the job. Semercy was coming into his new position with a lot of pressure of him. Thought Chris Riccardi was gone. Merrill desperately wanted to maintain its positions as the number one CDO underwriter. The CDO's business was changing. AIG has stopped insuring super seniors tranche. The banks that had always bought the super seniors weren't buying them anymore. CDOs were become harder to sell to investors, yet from the summers of 2006, when Crondall and the other veteran traders were out hosted to the summer of 2007, Merrill Lynch continued to churn out CDOs. It retained its positions as the number one underwriter, the mortgage desk revenue fees, and posted profits. The traders themselves made big bonus whenever anyone asked Semercy would tell Merrill executives that the firm had very little exposure to subprime mortgage risks. He had made all this money for the firm, he said, while de-risking the portfolio. Semercy says that such a claim is not credible because the management team all received the same risk reports, which were prepared by the independent risk management divisions, setting out the exact amount of risk in each trading book, but he told no one how exactly he was accomplishing this. Incredibly, no one thought to ask. Instead, from the boardroom to the trading floor, everyone simply assumed that Hal was well, that the business was being run the same way it had always been run, but it wasn't. There was one person at Merrill Lynch who might well have asked the right questions, had been in a position to do his. His name was John Bright, and he was a risk manager who specialized in evaluating derivatives risk. A calm, soft-spoken ex-physical, Bright had joined the long march from academia to Wall Street, landing at Merrill Lynch. He was hardly anti-derivatives like most quants. He believed that derivatives were a useful tool, nor was he the kind of risk manager who feared all risk. On the contrary, he was one of the people who believed that Merrill had shot himself in the foot by beginning to risk errors in years gone by. The problem with O'Neill's Merrill, Bright believed, was that even as the CEO was pushing the desk to take more risk, the institutions still recalled at um, $50 $50 million loss. Merrill's about risks caused traders to seek out risks that wouldn't show up in the risk models brought by life. If the bar is small, he liked to say, it means we are taking risks in things we can measure. Bright used to tell Merrill management that Bar didn't measure black swans, the rare but real risk that could destroy a firm. That was its fatal flaw. Blade had also learned over the years that by the standards of um, Wall Street was quantitatively illiterate executives learning terms like standard deviations and normal distribution, but they didn't really understand the match, so they would learn it into thinking it was magic. Traders come to believe the formulas were not an approximation of reality but reality itself, which is also why firms needed good risk management departments. He believed the risk managers were the ones who imposed the reality checks that the traders preferred to ignore, but ever since Fakahani had been but in charge of it, Merrill Lynch risk department had been in step decline. Historically, the top risk executives at Merrill reported directly to the chief financial officer. That was fine when Merrill had a strong CFO like Tom Patrick, who knew that part of the job was to the inevitable disputes between the risk manager and the trading desk over what continued too much risk. As head of Merrill's market risk braid had reported to Patrick, once Pagani took over risk management, the risk officer influences began to wane. Within a year, Braid lost his access to the board, seeming to view the disputes between traders and risk managers as squabbling among children. As some former risk manager put it, slowly, risk management went from being primarily a front office functions, meaning that risk managers sat on trading desks to a back office functions where they looked at models and spreadsheets and had very little interactions with the traders, and they started to make less money. A former risk manager explained a number of a good risk manager either left Merrill Lynch or become traders.